Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Dario here with another Options in Play video update. One of the things that I get asked a lot about, just consistently week after week, is just how I approach call flies and put flies. And I'll be honest, I do think that they are, in general, one of the harder to execute, at least consistently, option strategies. Just there are a few moving parts, both from like the contract perspective, but also kind of in terms of the timing, also the setting up, like how you want to bracket the contracts, so like the strike prices, right? Um, and they're certainly more complex than just your standard spreads. Um, on the same token, they're not like ultra complex where I feel like you'd want to just completely avoid them because there are interesting strategies in certain scenarios. But there are some tips, some tricks that I use when it comes to flies. I've talked about that in the past, and I'm not going to get into that too in depth in this video. But I just wanted to kind of highlight how I set my targets, which is definitely like a big piece of the puzzle when it comes to flies. Now spiders. I did a video last week talking about how the moving averages were, or up until this point in September, have been like very significant, right? I mean, when we got down to the 20-day, we bounced. When we got down to the 50-day, the first time we bounced. When we got down to the 100-day, the first time we bounced, right? So on the way back up, if the moving averages were significant on the way down, I'm assuming that they're going to be significant on the way back up, right? So when the SPY got down into the 100-day, right, and it looked like it was about ready to turn the corner and start rebounding, naturally the levels that I'm focusing on the upside would be the 50 days. So it was significant on the way down, and when it broke underneath it, it really fell apart fast. So when the SPY started to turn the corner and looked like it was going to bounce, my target was 50-day. I said, okay, spiders could have moved back up. 50-day likely to be resistance on the first back test into it, right? I mean, because there's a big level on the way down, so I'm assuming it's going to be a big level on the way back up. So with that in mind, right, that to me kind of lends itself to kind of a nice target to work with, right? Because you, when you design a call fly in this case, or a put fly, the same if I was looking on the downside, you basically want the midpoint of that strategy to to be where the stock closes on the time, or the day of expiration, right? So you want, if the midpoint of the fly is 335, which is basically right where the 50-day is, you want SPY to close at 335 on the day of expiration, right? So naturally, like what would help you kind of have confidence that a stock is going to finish at a certain area are key levels of support, key levels of resistance, right? So in this case, that's right where the 50-day is. So if you want a stock to move into a certain area and then stop, right, because you don't want it to move too far, then you can use like these key levels as like your focus points for the midpoint of those flies, right? So what I was doing, and I was looking at 330, 330, 335, 340 call flies, with 335 being the midpoint, and that's right where the 50-day is, right? So 330 was the low end, 340 was the high end, 335 was the midpoint, and I used the 335 because that's right where the 50-day was. Okay, but so it's not just the SPY; it's a lot of different stocks, and but that's really how I like to operate with flies in general. It's like I want the midpoint to be in an area where I think there's a reasonably good chance that the stock could maybe pause or consolidate or just kind of hang out there, right? Because that's the ideal scenario. It's like you want the stock to move a certain amount and then stop, right? Because that's how the flies operate. It's like you want it to move a specific amount and not too much beyond that. So I want the SPY to move into the mid 330s and then not too much past that. So using the 50 days is a nice way to kind of design that strategy. But in general, these are the types of levels I want to focus on, right? So like that's really what I wanted to like drive home with this video, is that when you're using when you're designing call flies or put flies, you want to use what the chart gives you, right? You want to use big levels of resistance, you want to use big levels of support, and if moving averages are close and potentially in play, then you want to utilize those as well, because those are really what are going to give you, in my opinion, a better chance of success when it comes to flies. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on options trading or option swing trading, or even more information on call flies and put flies, please follow up the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Hope you have a fantastic night. Stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.